This is just business for you these days.
Man, since I signed on to fight professionally at 18, and I knew since I did that journey that nothing be like on the personal level. Reason being, fight night, nothing's personal, man, and still nothing is personal. This is as close as it gets to personal. There's one individual that I'm gonna break his face shortly, but there's nothing personal, you know, and this is always awesome, you know, because I know this leads to me selling more pay-per-views, this leads to me representing myself and my people, and all that, so it never gets boring, man. It's always still fun, man. I love what I do. In just a couple months, in under a year, it'll be 20 years professionally. This is something you can fact check online. You can have the Instagram fact checkers go fact check. I've been fighting now 20 years professionally very shortly, you know. So I love what I do. I wouldn't be doing this if it was just for the money or just for the interviews, you know.
Yeah. How about this particular fight though, Jorge? You love it or hate it, right? As you said, it's not personal, but there's so much going on here. Like, I imagine on the one hand, you get to settle a score, and that's going to feel really good. On the other hand, he's getting a lot of spotlight. He's getting a nice paycheck as well. He's getting to bathe in some of that attention. So is there a part of you that hates this, that you had to give that to him?
You know, not only do I fight for a living and I get to punch people in the face, but every once in a while I get to punch somebody in the face that I really don't like, and I get paid for it. So on that end, I love it, you know, that he's like the worst selling pay-per-view performer in the whole division, and I'm gonna just upcrease his namesake, you know. But at the same time, I'm gonna send him to the hospital with an aspirin shot. So what's a good? And anyways, he doesn't get pay-per-views, so it's really like a lose-lose. He's gonna get his flat fee and all that, but he doesn't get pay-per-views. So it's like, fuck you 3 times, you know.
What do you make of his talk? I mean, he was just here recently talking about your family, talking about, you know, the people around you. I mean, do you take that as, okay, well, the guy's just trying to hype a fight, or do you take it as legit personal? I mean, is it?
No, I take it as legit, like, I'm gonna fuck you up, you know. Like I said, nothing's personal, but this is the closest it comes to it. I just, for many reasons, I wanna hurt this guy like I've never hurt nobody before. When he's talking about my kids, there's kids, religion, people's wives, I think that's beneath us. Let other people, other sports do that. We don't need to do that. When it's 2 men getting in that cage or 2 women getting in that cage, you don't need to do that. We're gonna fight and we're gonna find out. If you wanna talk crap about me, about my speed, my reflexes, I get all that, but what do my kids have to do with it? Another thing that I don't get, why does he talk about women so much? Every chance he gets, he attacks Amanda, attacks Joanna, or any of these fighters. And I think I figured it out. There's some doctors that we've been talking to. I think he's gonna have a sex change and then he's gonna go on over and start fighting women maybe, because as he says, he's just building a pay-per-view, you know? So maybe that's what he's doing. So he's a very interesting character, a lot of flaws in his head, and I can't wait to straighten him out.
Tactically speaking, obviously, we know you guys spend a lot of time training together, so I do wonder, what advantages do you take out of that time together? I mean, is there something that you know about, you know, whether it be psychological, whether it be about tactical, whether it be about, you know, his approach to things? Is there anything that you take out of that time that you had together that you can use?
I've never quit on a session, right? Like, when me and him go, I've never quit, no matter how much. If it was a wrestling session, no punches involved, and he just beat me up wrestling, I never quit. He's quit when we're going strikes, you know, and from body blows and stuff like that. He's gotten upset, took his gloves off, walked out of the cage. He's had to have the coaches talk to him and say, hey man, it's just training, relax, you know, you're getting a little bit too heated, just get back in there, you know, it's all good. I've never done that, you know. I'll take my ass whooping like a man, and I'll give my ass whooping like a man. Like I've said in numerous interviews, he could be all right hammer. That he can do. He can never play the nail roll. And as soon as things don't start to go his way, man, he quickly unfolds. It's a snowball effect. We've seen him. You'll see the facial expressions he makes when things ain't going his way. Well, Woodley Alves wasn't giving into him and put him in a little guillotine before he could even sink it intact, you know. It's just, it's the nature of the beast. He's a good hammer, but never a nail.
So last thing for me, you know, we saw after his last fight and kind of say, Usman, you know, say it was just about business and money. I mean, you win this fight, he gets up and says, hey, Jorge, you know, we were just selling pay-per-views. It's all good. Do you accept that from him?
He knows me like through and through, you know. He would never dare do that. He wouldn't get close to me in any circumference or anything like that. He wouldn't put himself at a chance where I could end his ass again, you know. Especially because he's talked about my kids. My kids don't do a pay-per-view sell. Like people ain't tuning, oh, he's talking about his kids, I'm really gonna tune in now. You know, he talked about Usman's dad, I don't know how many times, calling him all types of things, Usman's mom. And then you're gonna say it's just business, I'm selling pay-per-view, I love you, bro. When he had said for months, I'll never shake this guy's hand. That shows how much of a coward he is and what a snake he is, bro. He'll say whatever and whenever. And then when the light's on him, when it's time to be a man about it, he does what he does. You know, I can't respect him in any way, shape, or form, man. You know, and kind of like Ben Askren, like I don't care for Ben Askren. And Ben Askren, we're in a place, and he says something to me that shit, we could either fight or not. You know, if he's cool, I'll be cool, or we can fight. But with Colby, it'll always, for as long as we both live, will always be a problem. Just because he mentioned my religion, just because he mentioned my kids. And I think for future generations, I don't want the 10-year-olds that are going to be in the sport taking over in the future thinking that's how you sell pay-per-views. Because again, I say he is the worst selling pay-per-view guy. Even with all his antics and talking about everything under the sun, doesn't sell no pay-per-view, so obviously it doesn't work. You know?
Right. Do you look at Colby now, and from that guy who used to live with you, do you even recognize him, or is he completely 100% changed as a person?
It's not that he's changed as a person, because the only thing shittier than his current act is his real self, you know? He would take my coach went with him to Brazil. My coach coached him in his amateur fights all the way up. He fought RDA, and we were both in his corner cheering him out for him to get that belt. And as soon as he had the chance to like do right, pay this guy back, because he's been with you 4 or 5 years, hasn't made a fucking penny. Now you finally earned some coin, pay this guy back. What did he do? Fuck you, pay him $0, you know? So, I don't know, man, what to tell you. He's just as shitty as he was then, and it's just a little bit more personified for the TV. It's a little bit more glorified for the TV, how shitty he could be. I'm sure he left everybody here with a bad taste in their mouth. You guys don't have to all agree at once, but fuck, bro, nobody can stand the guy, you know? It's just bad antics after bad antics, and after that, when he's in the corner, the UFC was gonna cut me. The UFC was gonna cut me, so I had to change my whole persona. You're still not selling no fucking pay-per-views, bro. You know? And then just 6-7 months ago, I got the video clip here somewhere. If somebody wants to play, Jorge Masvidal's my best friend. Jorge Masvidal's my best friend. You ain't never heard me say that on tape. What happened, man? Because 6, 7, 8 months ago, he was saying I was his best friend. What happened, bro? What, you didn't pay my coach and I didn't like that? You know, you fucking coward.
It's not an argument. People always say like, oh, Colby's just playing a character. But if you're playing a character all the time, at what point are you not even playing a character anymore? At what point are you just that person?
Or is my best friend? Or is my best friend? Or is my best friend?
Fuck. That was like 8 months ago, bro. What the fuck is wrong with you, bro? You ain't never heard me say that in a video. Why was he saying that? Because I was already a household name, a star, so he's just trying to align himself with that. Ask him any question about Trump policies or anything that Trump changed or didn't change, and see what the fuck he tells you. He can't tell you shit. He just wanted to tie his name to something that was fucking going up, you know, whether people loved him or hated him. He's like, let me attach my name to that because I can get some fame with that. The guy's a fucking complete comedian, bro.
Last one from me. You sometimes specifically mentions like, oh, he couldn't handle it when I went to the body in training, or he couldn't handle it when I put the pressure on him, he would break. But he never seems to say specifics as to why he can beat you. He just sort of says, oh, I'm going to go in there and smash him. Is that because there was no occasion where he had a strategic advantage over you in sparring?
When he first came on over, and again, everything could be fact checked, I was at 155 pounds, just left Strikeforce. He was just fresh out of college. He was actually considering fighting at either 185 or 170. So we used to wrestle all the time, and it didn't fare well for me in wrestling. He would consistently beat me at wrestling, straight wrestling. As I started to get bigger, those wrestling exchanges started to get a little different. Once I came to 170, but that was many years later, we're talking about like 54 years later, all of a sudden, the wrestling goals are not in his favor as much, you know, and now he's having to take a deep breath because I got a little bit extra weight behind me, and I know more of the wrestling. So the goals between me and him started to become far and few in between. When at 55, he'd always want to go, always want to use me for his training camps. I remember for the Damian Maia fight, perfect guy to help him out in a way, to do a couple things that Damian was me, because I fought with Maia, and I could, you know, try to emulate Maia in certain situations, half guard sweeps, things like that. Wouldn't want to go with me. I'd show up to practice. Mike, I'm ready. You told me today I was going to go with Colby. Yeah, but Colby said he doesn't want to go with you today. Or other strikers that he was fighting, once I was at 170, didn't want to go no more. I was like, I wonder why, man. Because I used to take those outsources like a man when you beat me wrestling. Now that I got a little bit of weight on me and I can give it back to you, you don't want to go. And I always knew since then, coward.